What up, y'all? It's your girl Rowdy back with another episode of Lip Service. I'm here with my producer Sharonda Gunn, aka Gun Shy, and we actually have a really cool topic for you guys today, so let's get into it. Excited for the topic we have today. We're going to be talking about the paranormal, ghosts and shit. And by the way, I just have to mention really quick, on the set we have with us, if you're watching this on YouTube, we have in addition to the set, one of my absolute favorite directors. You like how we moved in unison? Alfred Hitchcock's one of my favorite movie directors of all time. Not of all, well, in that genre, because he was like the king, and the way he shot his stuff was like really amazing, because there was like no blood splatter. You didn't actually see the violence, it was implied, like with Psycho, how he had old boy, the outline of old boy on the shower and the lady inside. Yeah. It was implied. That was some scary shit. But he's back there side-eyeing us. I love that painting of his. It's an original painting that I got from someone in Austin, Texas. But yeah, so we're talking about paranormal today, right?
Right. So speaking of Hitchcock and his wonderful movies, generations have been like obsessed with the paranormal. From back in the day, we have where the films were depicted. We have like The Exorcist. We have Poltergeist. Nowadays, we have The Conjuring. And
The Omen. Sorry, I have to throw that in there. The Omen used to scare the shit out of me.
Cannot forget The Omen.
Yeah, it used to scare the shit out of me.
Little kids are scary. Anyway,
they are.
Little kids are scary as fuck. So.
Movies with little kids,
yes.
I guess. I don't even know if this would be considered a scary movie, but what is that movie? It was a Stephen King movie. Were all them little alien kids? Oh man, I can't remember the name of it. But anyway, you're right. I digress. Little kids and movies are fucking scary.
They're fucking scary, right? Yeah, nothing scares me more than that. And dolls.
I hate dolls. Oh, I was about to say. I don't like clowns. I don't like clowns. But so, yeah, right. Anyway.
So, yeah, we both, as you can see, we're both really into the paranormal types of things and movies and all that. So, but in our everyday real life, so do you actually believe in ghosts and the paranormal and all that?
I do. I do, Sharonda. No, yeah, no, I do. And I know a lot of those movies, right? They pull from real life stories. Right. A lot of them are based.
I mean, The Conjuring is based on the Warrens, real life paranormal couple.
Yeah, they are. I wouldn't call them ghost hunters, but they actually went around and they were investigators. So the Warrens were investigators, and they went around and investigated different hauntings. Her and her husband checked them out to see if they were real and all of that. And they're really popular right now. Their stories are really popular right now. But I most definitely believe that ghosts and spirits and haints, if you will, that's what we call it in Arkansas, I guess. Haints.
Haints? Spell that.
Haints. I don't know. I just know they call them haints. I don't know. If you guys have heard of the term haint, I bet you there are people out there who have, and I bet you they're from the South. But I definitely believe in ghosts, because let me tell you guys, when I was growing up, we lived in a house in Omaha, Nebraska on 33rd and Hamilton, and I call it the house on 33rd and Hamilton. And I was really little when we lived in that house, like very young. And the first thing I remember in that house, being very young, is me, my mom, my sister, my family. We were in the living room watching TV, and the house had a basement and an upstairs. So we were in the living room watching TV, and the basement was like adjacent to the living room, the door. And all of a sudden we hear footsteps coming up the basement, right? And my mom, who was pretty kick-ass and knew how to handle all of this ghostly shit, looked over at the door to the basement and was like, if you don't mess with us, we won't mess with you. And whatever it was, not even kidding, it turned around and walked its ass back down the steps.
Oh, wow.
And did not come upstairs, did not mess with us. That was like one of the first things I remember that happened in that house.
The first?
Yeah, that house was so charged with activity. Like, it's ridiculous. So, like, crazy things would happen in that house. Like, I remember, there's a couple things. So, we had this, like, toy piano music, and it was broken. We broke it. And for whatever reason, I don't know, we didn't throw it away right away. But one night, the shit started playing. Like, real life started playing. And just by itself, like, we were all in bed or whatever. My mom heard it first, and we were like, that toy's broken. But it would just start playing by itself. And I don't even know if my mom threw it away or what happened. But after that, she might have, because it was just fucking gone. Like, that happened in that house. Also, so, my father, he passed away when I was very young, and we were living in that house. He didn't pass away in the house, but we were still living in the house after he passed away. And I remember very vividly, and my older sister can contest to this, because she remembers it too. We would be outside playing, and he would come and be like, don't go in the street, or get out of the street. He would tell us to get out of the street, and so we would listen. And I remember one time, my mom came out to check on us, and we were like, oh, we just saw Dad. And she's like, what? Like, what? What happened? What do you mean? And we're like, oh, yeah, he told us not to play in the street. And she was like, well, what do you have on? And we told her he used to wear, like, this newspaper hat, you know, the black newspaper boy hats, and a leather jacket. And we were like, yeah, he had on his leather jacket and his hat, and he walked down that way. And so, like, we told her he went down the street. That happened a couple times. And then also, he would sit, there was like a rocking chair on the porch. He would sit in the rocking chair and watch us play in the yard. So often he would just like come check on us in that house. It was just crazy. All of the stuff that happened in that house. Don't even get me started on my sister. My older sister was like kind of conduit. I don't know. When she was younger, I don't know about older. She didn't really mention much. But when she was younger living in that house, she did some crazy shit. Like, I remember she came downstairs and brought a picture, this old picture from like the 1930s. And in the picture was like this white woman and this white man. And she was like, that was me.
What?
And I died. She was like, we got murdered. She said, we got murdered in a robbery. And she said, that was me before I died. We took this picture before I died, and we got murdered in a robbery. I was killed in a robbery. And crazy as shit. Like, what? First of all, hey, where the fuck did you get that picture?
Yeah.
Because after that, we couldn't find that picture ever again. Like, we have no idea what happened to that picture. And if I ask my sister, I wonder if she'll know what happened to the picture. I don't know if she knows, but that was like the craziest shit. Like, she just was some Bonnie and Clyde type shit. And she said she was murdered in a robbery or whatever. So that happened. And then, like, oh my God, her and I shared a room upstairs in that house. And like every night, you could legit hear someone pacing back and forth in front of our bedroom door. Almost like a protector type deal. That's the vibe this entity gave me. And it would come and check on us, and it would wake me up sometimes. Like, the craziest thing, it would wake me up and be like, oh, go to the bathroom so you don't pee the bed. I don't know. And it was a very tall, I mean, at least 7 foot tall.
Oh, wow.
Whatever it was super tall and it just gave me a protective vibe. Like, I was not afraid of it or anything. It was just very, very protective vibe. But that house, oh my God, I recently, like, looked up that house because I wanted to do some research on it because I was thinking maybe I should write something about it. But that I found out that house was built in like 1905, and the different people that lived there were like Europeans, like foreigners. There were no, like, they were all immigrants. So I was trying to find out if maybe someone died in that house or something. I hadn't been able to find anything like that, but I'm pretty sure something had to have happened either in that house or on that property, because I feel like something usually goes down and there's like residual energy.
So most of the encounters that you're describing, they seem pretty friendly. Even just like the piano playing, none of the Annabelle type stuff.
Right. Oh my God. I hate dolls. Y'all, I hate dolls.
So, like, all these encounters that you've had growing up and everything, have they all been friendly? Like, what's the strangest, or what's the one that stands out to you the most right now?
Growing up, being younger, like in the house on 33rd and Hamilton, I didn't have anything scary happen there. Everything that happened, it didn't seem scary, maybe because I was a child. I was really young. I don't know. I didn't feel threatened by anything in that house. But that stuff sort of followed me as I grew up and we moved to different houses. And actually the most scary encounter that I've had was as an adult, probably 6-7 years ago when I lived in an apartment. That was probably the most scary paranormal encounter that I've ever had. And I was asleep in my bed and I rolled over, and standing in my closet was this man, and he looked like a cowboy. It was a very dark figure. Like, I couldn't really make out his features, but he was wearing a cowboy hat. He was dressed in all black, cowboy boots, and he was so menacing. He was staring at me.
Wow. And
his whole energy and like his whole vibe was so menacing. It was like a vibe of like, bitch, get out of here. Like, you shouldn't be here or whatever. But me being me, I literally rolled over and turned my back to him and did my whole get thee behind me same thing. Like, there's some things that my mother had taught me to do if I ever felt threatened, because I used to see so many things. But I did that whole bit and he went away and he never came back since. But it was really menacing. It was like the most terrifying 2 minutes of my life. Dealing with the spirit, because I had chills. I get chills now because he was just really menacing. His whole energy, because for me, ghosts and things like that, it's all energy. Mm-hmm. And so he really had a really negative, like, if he could hurt me, that's the kind of energy I felt. But he didn't, and he was gone after I did my little thing. He was gone. So, but that was like the scariest, I think. Yeah.
So, did you have any, because I know a lot of people, they'll say they've seen the same entity, the same spirit, as a child, as a teenager, even like in old age. Have you had anywhere this particular entity has followed you?
I have had the same entities that have been with me, yes, but it's not like I see them, it's more of a feeling. So I for a very long time, I felt like my father, because he passed when I was young, was traveling with me from house to house for a very long time, up probably into my adulthood, most definitely. But other than my dad, for the long haul, it was just my dad. No other entity was familiar to me. No. And then like my mom, when she passed, she would show up because I would smell her scent. That's how I know she would be there. It would be really fucking strong, and I'd be like, oh shit. But she's more around more often than anybody. Also, it could be helpful that her energy is around, because she keeps away any negative, any other negative energies, if you will. I don't know, that's how I feel about it.
So why do you think like the non-familial entities actually show up? Like, do you think some of them are seeking? Are they seeking help? Do they, like, why you, and what is your...
I have no idea. I don't know that they just show up because for me, but I think it could be places it could be things or it could be people. Like, I feel like people can be haunted, objects can be haunted, locations can be haunted. And I don't know if we just lived in a bunch of locations that were haunted. I kind of feel that way because actually none of those entities that weren't like, you know, my dad or my mom followed me from place to place. I never felt that. I always felt like when we moved to a place, there were already things there. Like when I was a teenager, the house we lived in, a different house, I had the upstairs, and I remember I went away to volleyball camp for like a week. And when I came back, my mom was like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you're back. Your people were up there raising hell. And I'm like, what? What do you mean? She's like, they were banging on the floor, the walls. They were making so much noise because you were gone. And when I came back, I mean, I just went upstairs. It was like normal. Like, I didn't feel anything weird. And the crazy thing is, if someone says to you, girl, when you was gone, there was so much activity in your room, would you just be like, oh, and then just go up there like everything's normal?
No.
I did. I was just like, oh, well, let me go. Hey, guys. Like, what? It was just the norm, and I wasn't afraid of it.
Well, you know, that can't be a coincidence. The norm can't be a coincidence because for you to have, even though these entities didn't follow you, but for you to have these occurrences in so many different spots, I would, like, one listening would think that maybe you're a conduit. So maybe, like, your energy in a space kind of welcomes them.
I don't think I'm a conduit at all, because when you think of conduit, that's something coming through you or using you. So I don't think I'm a conduit. I do think that perhaps I could be a beacon or something, maybe, but I don't feel that way because I don't just have like spirits coming at me all the time. I don't have that at all. I almost feel like I just happen to always move into these places with these hot spots. Like that's how I feel about it. Cause like even where I live right now, there's minimal activity in like the kitchen. Like there is just some kind of otherworldly activity that happens in my kitchen from time to time.
I'm laughing because honestly, see, okay, so I love how comfortable you are with this, and you're just speaking like it's so normal. I don't got no entities. In different houses. This is not normal. You're like several places. How many places can you say in the past 10, 15 years you have not felt something?
I can name the ones that I haven't because there's been so few.
Exactly.
Like literally. Gosh, since I've been here in Texas, there's only been 2 places where there was zero activity. Every other place that I've lived in, there's been some sort of paranormal activity.
Yeah, so there's something into that. There's something to that. It's normal to you, but it's not normal to whoever's watching or me.
Like, sidebar, look at my Stranger Things t-shirt. But anyway.
Stranger Things is happening with her.
Right, Stranger Things, guys.
Tracy lives in the Upside Down.
Right.
So speaking of which, one of the things that I've read is a lot of times that when we see apparitions or things, that sometimes they're caught in between worlds. So they're not actually a ghost, but we may be saying into...
They're caught in purgatory?
No.
What are you talking about?
Like different dimensions. So how you said you go to your living room or your dining room and you may see, I think you told me before, like you saw a family sitting there.
Yeah, people are going to think I'm fucking bananas after they after they hear this fucking episode. Yeah, so I've had, where I live currently, I've had 2 major things happen. So one, I leave my bedroom and I walk into the kitchen and there's an entire family sitting at the kitchen table having a meal. A family, mind you, that is of the Caucasian persuasion that I do not know.
White people like to haunt you.
I look at them, they look at me, and the dad looks at me in particular in surprise, kind of like, what are you doing here? Like, and I'm looking at them like, what y'all doing here? And I just was like, either I stepped into another dimension, I don't know, but I just turned around, came back in my room, and I tried it again, and I went back out, and they were gone. So I don't know if I slipped through a time warp, stepped into an alternate universe. I don't know. But that has happened, and that didn't frighten me or anything. I mean, it was we were all kind of just looking at each other like, somebody ain't supposed to be here. And we didn't know, I didn't know if it was them, and I don't think they knew if it was me, but I was just like, let me reset. So I left, went back in my room and tried it again. They were gone. That's one thing. And then the other thing that happened, which is kind of crazy, I swear to God, people are going to be like, that Tracy is batshit crazy. So,
or they're going to be like, oh my God, I'm not the only one.
They could say that because some people don't like to talk about it, which we can get into. But the other thing that happened in this house that was pretty crucial is I was sleeping and I rolled over on my back, and I don't know why, but I opened my eyes and there was a black orb floating above my face. And I don't know what it was doing, why it was doing, or how it was doing, but I jumped up, and like the way my bedroom is like I jumped up and ran around the corner, and I was peeking at it from around the corner, and it legit floated up into the corner and like disappeared.
Like an orb? Like a shadow man? Like an orb?
Not a shadow man. It was just like a black orby blob. It was like very orby. And it was like moving. If you think of a blob, like a circle blob, and it was just like over my head as I was sleeping, and it was like pulsing like that. And the crazy thing is
that would have scared the fuck out of me.
It didn't even scare. It startled me. It startled me, which is different because I wasn't frightened. I was startled because I was like, what the? But I didn't get a vibe that it was like harmful. So my ass, I like run around the corner in my bedroom, and I'm peeking around the corner at it and watch it disappear. And I literally just stood up and went and got back in the bed and went to sleep.
You have clearly some sort of spiritual connection. Was it just you that experiences these different occurrences, or did your other family experience them as well?
No, I was not the only one. So my mom was aware of all of this stuff. And then my older sister, everything that I experienced in that house on 33rd and Hamilton, she experienced as well. And so I'm really excited because we have her on the phone so she can corroborate my story so y'all won't think I'm fucking crazy. Because I know that people are going to listen to this and be like, that bitch is crazy. Oh my God, we dropped the call. We've got to call back. Guys, technical difficulties.
It's those spirits. They like, no.
So we had technical difficulties. The spirits were like, fuck y'all. Y'all ain't about to corroborate shit, and disconnected the line.
Would be surprised.
So we have on the phone my older sister, Sergeant Slaughter, a.k.a. Darlene. So you remember living in the house on 33rd and Hamilton, right?
I do.
Okay, and so like that house was rife with activity growing up. Do you remember the incident where the entity or whoever was coming up the stairs, and the lady, what did the lady say to it?
To my when it was coming up from the basement?
Yep.
She said something like, if you don't bother me, I won't bother you.
Yep, and it turned its ass around and went back down the stairs, right? I was telling Sharonda about the time you had that picture of that white lady and that man, and you said it was you, and it was from like 1930s or 1920s.
So I don't remember the incident, but I have been told about the incident many, many times about me going to get some picture, and I said that was me, and it was like a picture in black and white. Like it clearly could not have been me. Like nobody knows where the picture came, and I like had a whole story to tell, and I freaked out Mom and Dad. And
nobody knows where the picture is either, right? To this day.
Yeah, to this day it like disappears.
And what about when we used to play outside, and like our dad who had passed used to...
yeah, he would come and like visit us and tell us to stay off the street and stuff like that.
Yep.
With his straw hat on.
Told y'all, in his leather jacket.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, don't you think, so that house on 33rd and Hamilton, do you think it was haunted?
I think it was something going on, because there was many instances where, I mean, I don't know if it was spirits, whatever it was, but it was not natural, it was not normal. Like, remember when the organ was playing, but it didn't have any gutting? It, like, the inside was gutted out. It had no batteries or anything.
That's what it was. I was like, it was like some toy piano, but yes, it was. I told you, Sharonda, just be playing all by itself.
Crazy.
Yeah. So, see, I'm not crazy. My older sister, if I'm crazy, she's crazy too. But we did experience things in that house on 33rd and Hamilton. And I just wanted to get her on. So I just wanted to get her on so that she could corroborate my story. And the spirits tried to stop us because they hung up on her the first time.
Yeah, they did. They really did.
So, do you have anything specific that you remember about that house, crazy, or anything that you want to share?
No, I mean, I think we pretty much covered it all.
Why do you? I have a question. Why do you guys think that you two were more singled out?
I don't know if it was just me and her because my mom seems to be aware of the different things, or she was around when the different things happened. I mean, the only thing I can't really remember her being around for was like when our dad, after he had passed, he would come and visit us outside, and I mean, that was the only time. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, me either.
I don't know.
But I thought one thing I'll say, the lady was really good about not saying like we was crazy or saying we were imagining it. She never once said that. So that's why I'm like.
No, she never was. And just like about when our dad used to come and visit us, it's not I mean, it was like, okay, yeah, he's just coming to check on y'all to make sure y'all okay.
Yep.
Instead of, kids, get out of my face. Your dad's passed. He ain't came to visit y'all. So just like, okay, he's just checking on y'all.
Yep. Yep. So cool. Well, thank you for being a part of the show.
You're welcome.
I appreciate you answering on a whim and joining us.
Not a problem. Not a problem.
Okay, I'll talk to you later.
All right.
Thank you.
Love you. Bye. So, we just talked to my sister who corroborated my story. I'm not crazy. For all of y'all out there in podcast listenerville thinking I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. No, that shit really happened. And I would say that if you are experiencing something like in your house, noises, spirits, anything, that you're not crazy. That it's really happening. And that's my lip service.